Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ms. McGuire video lectures. And today we're covering the digestive system. This is part 1 video, and we're only covering anatomy in this video. And I'm using OpenStax, Anatomy and Physiology textbook. So let's go ahead and begin. Overview of the digestive system organs. So actually, digestive system is made of 2 groups of organs. Alimentary canal, and it has several names, gastrointestinal tract or GI tract, and accessory digestive organs. So alimentary canal digests and absorbs food, and it includes mouth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, and large intestine. And it's a continuous tube where your food became then chyme, and it goes through this tube from your mouth till your anus. And accessory organs include teeth, tongue, gallbladder, digestive gland, salivary glands, liver, pancreas. So those organs that are important in digestion that allow you to digest the food. However, it's not a tube, right? So the food is not going through those organs. Well, there is many systems that benefit digestive system, and lots of systems are beneficiary of the digestive system. That pretty much going without saying, because all your body system works in harmony. And here we can see like cardiovascular system, all of this and how they benefit. It says benefits received by the digestive system. And that's not correct, because this table actually tells you how this body system contribute in the functioning of your digestive system, right? That makes sense? So, for example, cardiovascular system supplies your digestive system with oxygen, and it processes nutrients. Nutrients from your digestive system are absorbed into your blood, and your blood delivers nutrients to all tissues and cells of your body, right? Now, endocrine system, endocrine hormones help regulate secretion and in digestive glands. Integumentary system protects digestive organs and synthesize vitamin D, precursor of vitamin D for calcium absorption. Lymphatic system, you have a mucosa-associated lymphatic tissue that protect your digestive system. And plus, you have vessels called lacteals that absorb lipids, right, from your digestive tract. Muscular system protects your digestive system. Nervous system, you will have nervous plexuses that regulate secretion and contraction in the digestive tract. Respiratory system provides oxygen, remove carbon dioxide from your digestive system. Skeletal system protects, support digestive organs. Urinary system, for example, kidneys convert vitamin D into active form. So you synthesize precursor of vitamin D in your skin, and then your kidney convert it into active form, and it's allow calcium absorption in the small intestine, right? So those systems benefit your digestive system, and obviously your digestive system provides nutrients for all the system. Because what are systems? They are a group of organs, and organs are made of tissues, and tissues are made of cells. And any living cell in your body requires nutrients. And those nutrients will be received because your digestive system will digest your food, break it down into nutrients, right? And then cardiovascular system delivers those nutrients to your cells. If you look at histology of the alimentary canal, it will change. We don't expect to find exactly the same histology in the stomach, for example, and in the anus. However, the major layers are gonna be the same. And the major histological layers from deep to superficial include mucosa, submucosa, muscularis, externa, and serosa. So mucosa is epithelium and lamina propria, right? So we can see over here the first layer, epithelium, lamina propria, and then a thin layer of muscles that is called muscularis mucosae. Then submucosa includes blood and lymphatic vessels. So that's the next layer over here. I guess, right? This one shown in a brown color. And then muscularis externa, it's a double layer, most of your GI tract, with exception of large intestine and stomach. You will have two layers, and you'll have deep circular muscles and more superficial longitudinal muscles. And then serosa, it's an outer covering, and it's also made of epithelium and areolar connective tissue, but it's only present in abdominal cavity, and it holds alimentary canal in place. So again, mucosa, submucosa, muscularis externa, and serosa. Nerve supply. Actually, your GI tract has its own network or plexus of nerves. We call it enteric autonomic nervous system. They even call it your gut brain. And it includes two plexuses. I'm just reminding you that plexus is just a network of nerves. And so my enteric plexus and submucosal plexus. Submucosal plexus is found in submucosa, and my enteric plexus is found between circular and longitudinal muscles. So you can see on this diagram, and they regulate obviously the contraction of the smooth muscles, right? And they can also regulate the movement of the a kind of a movement within the mucosal layer, because in the mucosa you have your muscularis mucosae, so that they can innervate this muscularis mucosae, muscularis mucosa layers. So there will be kind of like a local movement within the mucosal level. And when we talk about contractions, this is going to be our peristalsis. When you're, this big muscles, circular longitudinal contract, we call it peristalsis, and this is what propel chyme through the lumen of your intestine. Now, blood supply. If you look over here, now this is diaphragm, and this big vessel over here is abdominal aorta, and pretty superior, right, to the on the abdominal aorta, we have a short blood vessel that is called celiac trunk, and then there is three major branches from celiac trunk: left gastric artery that supply stomach, splenic artery that you can see goes to the spleen, and then it has branches again to the stomach. For example, this branch from splenic artery that is left gastroepiploic artery, and a common hepatic artery. Then this artery will branch into hepatic artery proper that bring blood to the liver, and gastroduodenal artery, right, that will bring blood to the stomach and duodenum. And here's another branch over here, right gastroepiploic artery. Right, and here another artery from the common hepatic artery is the right gastric artery. So celiac trunk, left gastric artery, splenic artery, common hepatic artery, then are divided into smaller branches that supply stomach, spleen, liver, duodenum, pancreas, right? So that's blood supply. So artery is a branch of aortic arch and abdominal aorta, branch of aortic arch. I mean, what is this branch of aortic arch? I don't know. I think this is doesn't. Artery is a branch of abdominal aorta. I don't know what they mean. They branch from abdominal, from aortic arch. I don't think that's correct. Okay, now peritoneum. What is a peritoneum? Peritoneum is a serous membrane that cover your organs of your abdominal cavity. Right, so you can see it shown here in green. It's actually a nice picture. I like it. I hope this guy doesn't mind me using it. It covers, you can see how it covers your liver and stomach and large and small intestine right over here. And it's a double layered membrane. So peritoneum has parietal peritoneum and visceral peritoneum. And visceral peritoneum will cover your organs, your viscera, and parietal peritoneum will cover the cavity. And then here you can see how it makes different folds, right? How it holds everything together through this root of mesentery. You can also see some organs are not covered by peritoneum. So since there is no this green covering, and those organs we call retroperitoneal, right, or infraperitoneal, like these organs over here in your pelvic cavity. So here's a major peritoneal folds. We have greater omentum, falciform ligament, lesser omentum, mesentery, mesocolon. Now, a greater omentum is this structure shown right here. See, that's this one over here, that's a greater omentum. And it's an apron-like structure that lies superficial to the small intestine and transverse column, right? And site of fat deposition in people who are overweight. Everybody has a little bit this belly weight that we call belly weight. All right, that's part of a greater omentum. Now, falciform ligament anchors liver to the anterior abdominal wall and inferior border of the diaphragm. So that's called liver in place. Lesser omentum suspends from the stomach. Mesentery covers pretty much your small intestine, and mesocolon covers large intestine. All right, so that's, just if it covers your small intestine over here, then it's called mesentery. If it's covers your large intestine, then it's mesocolon. Okay. Function of the digestive organs over here very quickly. We have mouth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine. So mouth ingests food, chews, mixes food, begins chemical breakdown of carbohydrates, moves food into the pharynx, begins breakdown of lipids via linguinal lipase. Pharynx pretty much propels food from the oral cavity to the esophagus. Esophagus propels food to the stomach. Stomach mixes and churns food with gastric juices to form chyme. So in the mouth, we call food bolus, and in the stomach, we call it chyme. We begin chemical digestion of proteins in the stomach, and that pretty much it. There is a little bit of absorptions for example, alcohol and aspirin. And also stomach possesses antimicrobial functions, but we do not have much of digestion or absorption in the stomach. In the small intestine, this is where we have major digestion and absorption. So this is where we mix chyme with digestive juices, propels food slow enough for digestion and absorption, absorbs breakdown products of carbohydrates, proteins, and everything, right? And performs physical digestion via segmentation. Right, so, and then we have accessory organs such as liver, gallbladder, and pancreas, but let's finish with GI tract, large intestine. Further breakdown food residues, absorb most residual water, electrolytes, and vitamins produced by enteric bacteria, propels feces towards rectum, and eliminates feces. An accessory organ like liver produces bile salt, which emulsify lipids. Gallbladder stores this bile. A pancreas produces lots of digestive enzymes and bicarbonate. Right, so that's a major function, and they do have other functions. Right, so for example, like in a mouse, the saliva cleans, lubricates the teeth, right? So in the stomach, stomach secrete intrinsic factor required for vitamin B12, absorption in the small intestine. So that's pretty much, this is very important function of stomach. We can, so if somebody has a stomach removed, then this function, not gonna be affected that much. However, this lack of intrinsic factor can affect a person's life. So this is, I would put it in a major function of the stomach, really. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the mouse. Very quick anatomy. Anatomical structure: oral cavity, labia, that are your lips, hard and soft palate, and palatoglossal arch that is shown right here, right? So those are our arches between palate and tongue, palatoglossal. Oh, palatopharyngeal, this one. I don't know where this, I think that's the same as palata. Oh, palatoglossal is right here, those arches. And this is palatopharyngeal, this is palatoglossal. Now, glossal in anatomy means tongue, and pharyngeal means pharynx. Okay, now what else we have? We have papillae. So you can see we have different papillae on a tongue, and function of your tongue is facilitate injection, mechanical digestion, chemical digestion, sensation, swallowing, vocalization. And then we have salivary glands. We have submandibular gland right here, sublingual gland under your tongue, and parotid gland close to the ear. So submandibular gland secretes saliva into mouth, watery secretion with salivary amylase. Sublingual gland secretes saliva into oral cavity, sickious secretion with least amount of salivary amylase. And parotid gland secretes saliva into mouth, water secretion with salivary amylase. So pretty much those salivary glands secrete saliva, and saliva has several functions. Of course, it's you mix your food with the saliva, making it you begin your digestion. You begin your mechanical digestion and chemical digestion, because saliva has this amylase that gonna break down carbs, carbohydrates. So you mix your food with saliva, and you make what we call bolus, and it's of course easier to swallow compared with some dry food that would, that you would have without this salivary glands. Plus, your salivary glands also protects your teeth from bacteria, so they have some antibacterial properties. Saliva is mostly water, 95.5%, and it has salivary amylase, and secretion of salivary glands are regulated by your autonomic nervous system. Now we have teeth, obviously, hopefully we still have them. We have 20 deciduous teeth. Those are the ones that appears at about 6 months, and then you will lose them and you will replace them with permanent teeth, that we have 32 permanent teeth, 8 incisors, 4 cuspids or canine, 8 premolars, and 12 molars. And your teeth, of course, you have upper teeth and lower teeth, and then upper teeth are divided into 2 quadrants and lower teeth divided into 2 quadrants. So you have total 4 quadrants of teeth. Now, if you look at anatomy of a tooth, it has 3 major parts: crown, neck, and root. And the crown is covered by enamel. This is the hardest structure in our body. It's way, way harder than your bones even. Then underneath you have pretty soft structure called dentin. Then you have a pulp cavity with blood vessels and nerves. And the teeth are held inside the sockets of your maxilla and mandible by ligaments that is called periodontal ligaments, right? And we have this, so those are roots. Inside the root, you have root canal and a pulp cavity within your neck of the tooth, right? So crown portion above the gum line that covered by enamel, root embedded within maxilla and mandible, and the root itself is covered by cementum. So we don't have here cementum shown, but that would be, covering over here. That's called cementum. Pulp cavity, it's made of loose connective tissue, has blood vessels and nerves, and surrounded by dentin. And this gray structure over here is dentin. Pharynx involved in digestion and respiration, and runs from posterior oral and nasal cavities to the opening of the esophagus and larynx. And it has 3 subdivisions. We have nasopharynx, oropharynx, and laryngopharynx. And nasopharynx from posterior nasal aperture, so from this point to the end of the uvula. So that's the uvula on a soft palate. Oropharynx from the end of the uvula to the mid of epiglottis, and this structure over here is epiglottis, so it's right in the middle of it. And laryngopharynx from epiglottis to the low aspect of cricoid cartilage, and that's your cricoid cartilage right here. Now, esophagus is a muscular tube about 10 inches in length that is posterior to trachea. So you can see this is a trachea, anterior and posteriorly is esophagus. And it has upper esophageal sphincter right here and lower esophageal sphincter. It's covered by stratified squamous epithelium and has mucosa, so it's covered by mucous membrane, and has a muscularis externa as well. The low part of esophagus is not stratified squamous epithelium. It's gonna be a change over here pretty much. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. It's gonna change when it attaches to stomach. Yeah, so it's stratified squamous epithelium, and then when we have stomach over here, stomach is simple columnar, right? I just mean what changes we have. It's interesting. We have skeletal muscles and smooth muscles within this muscularis externus, and low part of esophagus has smooth muscles and upper part has skeletal muscles. But yes, histology, epithelium is stratified squamous. Deglutition is a scientific name for swallowing. And we will cover it more in next lecture when we talk about physiology. But let's very quickly just look at 3 phases. We have a voluntary phase. Another name is oral or buccal. So you control it. Then we have pharyngeal phase. That's in the pharynx. And this is already involuntary, regulated by medulla. And esophageal phase, that is also involuntary, regulated by medulla, and this is done by peristalsis, right? Now, next, after esophagus, we have stomach. Stomach has 4 major regions. Now, this area over here is called cardia. Then we have fundus, body, and pylorus. And pylorus has pyloric antrum and pyloric canal. Right? So, but here is a whole part from here to here. That's our pylorus. And we have greater curvature and lesser curvature. And by the way, over here to a greater curvature, we have mesentery attached, right? So we have, the whole mesentery attached here to greater curvature, called lesser amentum. Stomach histology is similar to the rest of GI tract. However, we do have some modifications. First, we have 1 extra layer of muscles. So if you look over here, we have our circular and longitudinal, right? And then we have oblique. So we have 3 layers of muscles, 1 extra muscle, oblique layer in muscularis externa. Right, then we have gastric pits. So this is look like a little holes going down. That's a gastric pits. And they at the inferior parts over here, gastric pits became gastric glands. We have several cells. We have parietal cells that secrete hydrochloric acid. Chief cells secrete pepsinogen. Pepsinogens then will be activated in the presence of hydrochloric acid and became pepsin. And this digestive enzyme needed for protein digestion. Then we have mucous neck cells, and those secrete mucus, obviously, and enteroendocrine cells that secrete hormones right here. Now, stomach, because stomach has very low pH, about 2, then it's need to be protected. So the stomach needs to protect its own tissue from this strong acid, and it's done by a mucus layer. So mucus layer is a physical barrier, and plus it has this bicarbonate that neutralize acids. So bicarbonate rich mucus for protection, tight junction between epithelial cells. I don't know if this cannot show, but here's, I guess this is what this is where they show these tight junctions. And plus the stem cells quickly replace the damaged cells of stomach. So we have 2 types of digestion in stomach: mechanical digestion and chemical digestion. Mechanical digestion from the muscularis externa, it's a mixing wave, and gastric emptying 2 to 4 hours after you eat. And the chemical digestion is breaking proteins right into smaller peptides, and that's pretty much so. Breaks down the food. Yeah, so pepsinogen is activated into pepsin because of hydrochloric acid, and it's break down big protein molecules into smaller polypeptides. And mechanical digestion, you break down your food into smaller pieces, right? You mix it with enzyme and mucus, right, with hydrochloric acid, and you're making chyme. So it became now soft liquid mixture. After that, our chyme moves to the small intestine, and small intestine has 3 parts: duodenum, the shortest one, about 10 inches, jejunum, about 3 feet, and ileum is the longest one, 6 feet. Now, histology of the small intestine, we have the same 4 layers: mucosa, submucosa, muscularis externa, and serosa. And we have some unique features like circular folds to increase surface area. We have villi, so those are villi. And then we have microvilli. So if you have like villi, and they are made of simple columnar cells, and those have microvilli like this. So all these modifications are to increase surface area for absorption and digestion. We do have intestinal glands and that secrete intestinal juice for digestion. Most of the digestive juices are coming from pancreas to the small intestine, but small intestine itself secrete juice. And in the duodenal glands secrete alkaline secretion, because duodenum is the first part of small intestine, so it receives chyme from stomach, and chyme is very acidic. So duodenal glands work to neutralize that acid found, within the chyme, because chyme is mixed up with hydrochloric acid. Also in the small intestine, we have MALT, mucosa-associated lymphatic tissue that has immune function, protects you from bacteria and other pathogens. Right, okay. Now, in the large intestine, we have several parts. The first part is called cecum. This is where appendix is attached to the cecum, and small intestine, ileum, attached to the cecum as well. Then we have ascending colon. We have this flexure that is right colic flexure or hepatic flexure, because liver is here and hepatic means liver. Then transverse colon, left colic flexure or splenic flexure, because spleen is on this side. Descending colon, sigmoid colon, look like S, and then rectum and anal canal. So what it says here, and rectum is a final 8 inches, and anal canal 1.5, 2 inches. And anal canal has internal and external sphincters. Internal sphincter, both the sphincters prevent you from defecation in a wrong time, right? So you can control your defecation. External sphincter are made of skeletal muscles, and you can control it. Internal sphincter is made of smooth muscles, right? So that's the large intestine. Histology, majority is simple columnar epithelium, and it has lots of goblet cells, so also secretes lots of mucus. Unique structure of the large intestine include tinea coli. So tinea coli is these muscles, and those are longitudinal muscle. Now they are not covering the whole, tube, the whole intestine. It just wherever kind of like remaining part of longitudinal muscle forming this tinea coli. So it's just bands. Then hostra are those pouches, and they are result from tonic contraction of this tinea coli and epiploic appendages that are fed filled sacs right here, and purposes unknown. Now we have bacterial flora in the large intestine, about 700 species. They facilitate chemical digestion and absorption. So digestion really in the large intestine is bacterial digestion. And here are some of these bacteria species. One is Escherichia coli, and that's, you know, probably the one that you already know. And we moving to accessory organs that will include, so we already cover teeth and tongue and salivary glands, right? Those are also accessory organs. Now we are talking about accessory organs within abdominal cavity: liver, gallbladder, pancreas. So liver, largest gland in the body. It has 4 lobes, 2 primary lobes, right lobe and left lobe. And here's our falciform ligament that kind of continues into round ligament. So that's a fold of the mesentery. And then on the visceral surface of the liver, you can see caudate lobe, and caudate means tail. So I guess it looked like a tail, and quadrate. And this, I guess, looked like a quadrate. And right where we have quadrate lobe and the right lobe, you have gallbladder. And then we have what is called porta hepatis, and those are blood vessels, including hepatic artery and hepatic portal vein. And hepatic portal vein, this is the blood vessel that brings blood rich in nutrients from your GI tract to your liver for processing, right? So when you absorb your nutrients into your bloodstream from your GI tract, those nutrients first carried to the liver by what we call hepatic portal vein, and it enters in the porta hepatis, not just this kind of like area where we have this artery and hepatic portal vein. Now, if you look at histology of the liver, first it's just, sorry, it already shows histology, but it tells you that liver produce bile, and bile is needed for emulsification of lipids and in small intestine. And bilirubin, that is a part of a bile, results from a breakdown of RBCs or erythrocytes. Now, liver has 4 lobes, right? But within those lobes, we have structural and functional unit of liver that is called lobules. So lobules are not the same as lobes. Those are hexagonal structures. So they have 6 corners, and at each corner we have our triad. And the triad is 3 structures: portal venule, portal arteriole, and bile duct. So pretty much you can see what's going on over here. So we bring oxygenated blood right over here through the portal arteriole. We're gonna bring also blood from digestive tract through this portal venule from hepatic portal system, and the blood gonna move right through this lobule towards the central vein. And those cells, hepatocytes, right, those the ones that gonna process the nutrients, also remove some maybe toxins from that blood, right? And they also, they're also gonna produce the bile, and bile gonna flow kind of backwards inside this bile duct. And in the central vein, now we have a blood with the nutrients that were processed, blood that was filtered and cleaned, cleaned of maybe some, you know, like alcohol or other drugs or some, you know, harmful substances that can be absorbed along with your food, with your nutrients. And then from central vein, we will go to the hepatic vein. Right, so that's pretty much the liver. And now pancreas. Now pancreas has both exocrine and endocrine function. And endocrine function includes these pancreatic islets that secrete hormones like insulin and glucagon. But because we are in the digestive system, we're going to talk about exocrine portion. And when we're talking about it, we're talking about this structure over here that's called acinos. Those cells, they're gonna synthesize pancreatic enzymes. And then those enzymes will be deposited within the duct, right? That's why it's exocrine glands, because they secrete their product within ducts, and those ducts will unite together, forming the bigger ducts, like here our pancreatic duct, and then this our major pancreatic duct, and this pancreatic juice gonna enter duodenum. It will mix with bile and enter duodenum. Now enzymes will include enzymes that break down proteins, carbohydrates, right? So, and lipids, like trypsinogen, chromatrypsinogen, procarboxypeptidases, and these enzymes that will break down starch, that is carb, lipids, nucleic acid. Anyway, and gallbladder. Gallbladder is on the posterior aspect of the liver. It stores, concentrates, and propels bile, and it's made it's lined by simple columnar epithelium, and it has rugae. So over here also what we wanna look on this diagram. So here's the gallbladder. Now gallbladder has its duct over here that is called cystic duct. All right, and then your liver, because we have right and left major lobes, right? It will have right hepatic duct and left hepatic duct. And then when they come together, right and left over here, we form common hepatic duct. And common hepatic duct unites or fused with the cystic duct, forming a bile duct. So now this is a bile duct. So we do need to know those ducts. So we have cystic duct, because that's, you know, gallbladder is like a little cyst, like a little sac or cyst, cystic duct. Then we have right hepatic, left hepatic, common hepatic, and common bile. And then this common bile duct over here, you see, it brings the bile inside the duodenum along with the pancreatic duct. I don't know, is it the last one? Yeah. So this is our last PowerPoint. I just reminding you that we were covering anatomy of the digestive system, so we didn't go into details of digestion. So that's for our next video. Thank you for watching, and I hope it was helpful.